What's going on, guys? It's your boy Diggy, back here again for another Madden NFL style rebuild. Just want to say really quick before I get into the video, I'm trying to get this YouTube thing going, so I would really appreciate it if you leave a like and subscribe to my channel. It would go a long way to showing your support, and yeah, it would really be appreciated by me. So thanks for that, and let's get into the video. So we're gonna go with the Indianapolis Colts. I haven't done them in a while. I think they're a super interesting team, obviously with the whole Andrew Luck situation before the season even begun. Definitely threw a huge wrench in their plans, and then it was all right with Jacoby Brissett for a while there, but I think overall his experience kind of showed out, and it became pretty apparent that he's a decent quarterback. He's just not a franchise kind of quarterback. So we're going to take a quick look at the team here before we get into free agency and all that stuff. I think they had playoff aspirations even despite the Andrew Luck retirement, but they just kind of fell short at the end of the season, and that's the way it goes sometimes. So potentially look to move off of Jacoby Brissett at some point, but we'll see. Anyways, on to the team now. Anthony Costanzo, left tackle here. He's 32, and he's going to be a free agent, so there's potential that we won't re-sign him. Quentin Nelson's one of the best offensive guards in the league out of Notre Dame, and he's still very young. Ryan Kelly, same thing, one of the better setters in the game, and he's also relatively young. I believe he's 27. Yeah, he's 27. Mark Glowinski, he's a fine offensive guard. He's still only 28, which I guess is relatively young for offensive guard play, but yeah, potentially look to upgrade on that position. And then, of course, Braden Smith, only 24 out of Auburn. He's going to be a staple. So it's pretty safe to say for me, at least from my perspective, Quentin Nelson, Ryan Kelly, and Braden Smith are going to be here for the rest of the rebuild. On to tight end, Jack Doyle's pretty old now. He's 30 years old now. Mo Alley Cox is just an absolute beast of a human being. He's 6'5", 267, and he plays tight end. So Eric Ebron's also here, but I'm unsure if his contract expires this year. I'm pretty sure it does. So to be perfectly honest, I might look to move off of him and potentially grab another option at tight end because I do want to get rid of Jack Doyle as well. Receiving core, I mean Mike Hilton, T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, I mean he's never been one of my favorite receivers, to be perfectly honest, but I've just found that with his injury bug and all that stuff, he's missed enough time. So, he's still a productive player, still a good guy. I think he needs some help in the receiving core. Obviously, they had a lot of injuries, as you can see down here. Like, Devin Funchess got hurt really early on in the season. Chester Rogers, who was a guy that they brought in, I believe, as a rookie, or no. That was Paris Campbell. But yeah, I mean, like, Chester Rogers, Paris Campbell, like all these guys got hurt. Dontrell Inman is garbage and needs to go. I'm actually happy I saw his name so I can just release him because he's just so bad now. Just trying to watch him even catch a football is rough. So yeah, I mean, he could use some receiving help, but once these guys all come back and they're healthy again, this receiving core is actually pretty deep. So potentially not a huge need to address right away, but something to keep in mind. Backfield is Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines, Jordan Wilkins, and Jonathan Williams. I mean, Marlon Mack's a great running back. There's some like shades of Le'Veon Bell in the style of the way that he runs. And then Nyheim Hines is kind of just your scat back, typical third down guy. Really good pass catcher, but can't really run between the tackles. And then obviously Jacoby Brissett is our starting QB, who we already really talked about. Onto the defense, definitely some more holes on this side of the ball than the offense. Justin Houston, we'll start on the defensive line here. Justin Houston's 31. He's past his prime. Danico Autry is also one of those guys who's still on this team, but is really, past his prime as a 30-year-old. I believe this is Margus Hunt. Yeah, it's a very weird name to pronounce, but he's 33 and super old now. So, and then obviously Jabal Sheard is another guy. So they're super old up front in their front four, and then Yeah, their linebackers aren't great. Obviously, they had Matthew Adams, but I would prefer to put Bobby Okereke in the right outside linebacker if we can't figure out a way to improve this linebacking core for next season. And then Anthony Walker Jr., not Antoine Walker Jr. Anthony Walker Jr. is here, 25 years old, third year at Northwestern, and then obviously the ex defensive rookie of the year, Darius Leonard. I mean, he's a great player. I really like the way he plays the game. He just needs help. He just needs some help from the rest of the guys around him, to be perfectly honest. Secondary is actually not bad. We got Pierre Desir here. He's a little too old for my liking, but Kenny Moore is a solid player at only 25. Rock Yassin, who was a rookie this past year, is also quite the player that I like a lot. Quincy Wilson as well, also very young. So I mean, they're young, but Pierre Desir is probably the one guy who can afford to be released at that point. So that's exactly what we're going to do. He just doesn't have a future on this team, and he doesn't take any penalty by releasing him. So it's kind of a no-brainer for me. Continuing with the secondary, not Kenny Moore, we're on to Malik Hooker, third-year player at Ohio State. I know he came into the league really young, but he's really starting to find his groove back there at free safety. He had also had an unbelievable interception this season. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It was great. I think it would happen in Miami, but I could be wrong. Kari Willis is also here, rookie out of Michigan State. Also a pretty nice player, but I think the defense could use a lot of help, especially the defensive line and stuff. So it's not great, but at least we don't really have to worry too much about the offense. I mean, the quarterback's probably going to be the main need, and then outside of that, maybe tight end, maybe an offensive tackle. If we can't bring one in free agency or something like that. And then linebacker and defensive line is kind of the main focus for me for this team in particular. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to go negotiate some contracts here with the guys that are in free agency. Yeah, Eric Ebron, he wants a 4-year contract, but it's not for me. He's going to be regressing within the next 2 years. So by signing him to a 4-year contract, I'm kind of banking on the fact that he would get up to superstar development or something like that. And it just doesn't happen for tight ends in this game. So I'm going to pass on that. I'm going to pass on Costanzo. Even though he's still a fantastic tackle in real life, the fact that he's 32 in Madden and an 83, like by next year, he's going to be down to like a 78 or something like that. So I'm going to pass on him. Devin Funchess I've never liked, even though he's a Michigan guy. I just don't like him as a receiver. He's always hurt, and even when he was, with Cam Newton in Carolina and trying to be productive there, it just never really clicked. So I'm not going to give him a 3-year contract when he's 26. Jabal Sheard, same thing. Zach Pascal is going to get a contract. Honestly, being only 25, and with star development, I could throw him in the slot and he could develop really nicely. So I'm cool with that. Chester Rogers, no thanks. Clayton Geathers, no thanks. Marcus Johnson, same boat. All these guys, I actually do want to throw a contract to Chad Williams and Mo Alley Cox. I'm just worried about if I don't bring back many guys at all, then our depth is going to look really, really bad. So even though we're freeing up a lot of money, but Mo Alley Cox, I do want to bring back just in case, we try and trade Jack Doyle and stuff like that. We're not completely abandoning the position entirely. The rest of those guys can all walk. I know there are still some young guys in there, but when you're that low of an overall and we're trying to get the highest overall we can possibly get, it just doesn't make sense to re-sign any of them. So we're going to head into free agency here. Definitely looking at Chris Jones for sure. Need a lot of help along the defensive line, and he is a key piece to that. Yeah, we're going to give him 94 points there. Hopefully that's enough to bring him in. Amari Cooper, I'm not interested in. Kendall Fuller's interesting to kind of be an anchor to this young secondary, even though he's still very young. He's only 25, but yeah, I'm not interested that much. Ngakoue is definitely interesting, but I've just brought him in another rebuild, so I'm not that interested. DJ Reader, I'm actually going to give a contract to, and the reason for this is, we're going to need a lot of help on the defensive line, and if I can't fill all the holes in the draft, then I'm going to have to bring guys in on 2-year contracts just to try and have a plug and play. Maybe DJ Reader has an unbelievable season one year and he goes up to superstar and then we can re-sign him. So that's what I'm thinking there. I'm going to go through the rest of these guys, try and make as many signings as I can, and then I'll show you guys the result of it after day one. All right, guys, so we're back here after week 1 of free agency. I didn't really go too hard. I only tried to sign 3 guys, so Deron Lee's going to come in, DJ Reader, and then Chris Jones actually rejects our contract offer, which is a little unfortunate because I really wanted to bring him in as a kind of our star defensive tackle. I do, however, want to check if Eric Armstead is still available. If he is, then I will make an offer on him. If not, we're just going to go to the draft, and he isn't, so that's fine with me. Not a huge splash. We're going to save a lot of our money and stuff like that, so I'm not too concerned about the fact that we didn't land our biggest free agent fish, but I'm okay with it. We're going to make some trades here. We're going to move around the draft board quite a bit, so I'm sure we're going to bring in some talent that'll definitely help this team. As you can see, we now have a big hole at left guard. Obviously, that's where Quentin Nelson would usually play, but I guess Madden slid him over to be a tackle just because. But yeah, I mean, the receiving core is still somewhat reasonable. I mean, Paris Campbell's back from injury and stuff like that, so that's not too bad. Jack Doyle's still here. I do, however, want to check contracts and just to see what some of these guys are demanding. Like Jack Doyle would be next to impossible to trade. It just doesn't help us that much. And then onto the defense, we bring in DJ Reader, which is a nice addition. It's not like a game-breaking decision, and it's not gonna entirely sway the effectiveness of this defense, but it's a nice addition. He's a young player. We got him on a 2-year contract. It's relatively cap friendly. So, and same with Deron Lee or Darren Lee, whatever you want to pronounce it, Deron. We got him on a very reasonable contract. He's gonna come in, and try and fill a roster spot. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna check the salaries. I'm gonna try and see if I can make any trades. But yeah, we're gonna get into the draft here and maybe potentially look for our quarterback of the future. We're picking at number 13 right now, so I'm going to see what I can do, take a look at these salaries, make some moves, and then I will let you guys know what we end up doing. All right, guys, so the first deal that we're doing is purely for salary dump reasons. Margus Hunt and Danico Autry both had expiring contracts for next year, so we're trading both of them to the Denver Broncos and a 5th-round pick for number 15 in the draft. All right, guys, so after going over the contracts and stuff like that, I think that's the only deal we're going to make. It just doesn't look like there's a lot of egregious contracts that I need to get rid of on this team, so I'm totally fine going right to 13. We'll see what's available. Potentially quarterback, potentially defensive line, something along those lines. We'll see what's here. I'm going to take a look real quick. I'll do my scouting, and then I'll come back to you guys with our picks and who's on our draft board. All right, guys, so I'm back here. We're looking at our draft board right now. I think the pick here is going to be Jeffrey O'Leary. He's a right tackle out of UCLA. Sorry, there was another tackle I was looking at Wisconsin, but he's a very good player, had a great combine, really, really, really quick, and we need a tackle. So Jeffrey O'Leary is going to be the pick, 75 overall, number 10 in the class. We took him at number 13. I think it's a great selection here. Makes a lot of sense. Fill a hole on the offensive line. Yeah, I mean, it's a good selection overall. I think we're going to look the direction of this corner here, Leland Meredith now. Really good zone cover guy. Really strong. Not the fastest guy, but still 4'4" isn't bad. So I think he's going to be a great player. He is a 74 overall, number 14 in the class. We took him at number 15. So that's really great to see. We have 2 second-round picks as well, so I'm definitely going to be trying to capitalize on those. There was a guy who I was looking at in the 3rd or 4th round who looked ridiculously good, and it was Gabe Gillespie. He's a defensive tackle. We know we need defensive tackle. However, he's a 4th-round projected guy, and we still have number 12 in this round, so I might look to trade this away. There's almost never any value when it comes to these kinds of trades. I would have loved to have gotten a 1st-round pick next year in exchange for a really early 2nd-round pick. So, I'm probably just going to scout around here. I looked at Elliott Finnegan, this quarterback, but he's a late 2nd-round guy, and it's just not something that interests me that much. So yeah, I'm gonna take a look around, see what catches my eye, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys. So I'm back here. Zach Evans is looking like a pretty good player here. I know that we still need defensive line, so being a late 1st-round guy, good finesse moves and stuff like that. So I'm totally fine with that. 71 overall, normal development. He was number 30 in the class. We took him at 34. I think this is where we're going to draft Gillespie here. He's a 73 overall, normal development, number 19 in the class. We took him at 34. All right, guys, last pick of the draft. It's Christian Dubois. He's a projected 4th-round guy, but he's got late 1st-round talent, and he's a left tackle. So That's great. He's a 70 overall, and he's number 31 in the class, so great value in the third round. That's going to be it. I put a defensive tackle on my draft board in case you guys saw that. The CPU will automatically take him, so I'm not too concerned about that. All right, guys, so we're back here. We're just going to go through the team before we get into the next season. Offensive line looks relatively the same with the addition of O'Leary at our right tackle spot. Jack Doyle is going to be your starting tight end. Jacoby Brissett gets another opportunity as the starting quarterback of this team. Marlon Mack still leading the rushing game. T.Y. Hilton, same thing, leading the receiving core with Zach Pascal, Paris Campbell, and Chad Williams. Onto the defense, brought in DJ Reader, probably our biggest free agency signing. Gillespie, who we drafted in the second round of this past draft, is going to be our secondary starting defensive tackle. Evans, who we brought in through the draft as well, is going to be our starting left end. Justin Houston's going to stick around as the veteran for one more season. Kenny Moore, Rock Ya-Sin, and then Meredith, who we brought in as a rookie from USF. And Quincy Williams. Kari Willis is still a young guy. I know Meredith has a higher overall at strong safety than he does, but I'm giving him an opportunity. He's still a young player. So yeah, that's how that's going to go. And then Malik Hooker, obviously, heading up our free safety spot. So we are going to get into the season here. I don't think we're going to make any moves before the season actually starts. I might go over really quick the salaries and just see if, maybe we can capitalize on a trade opportunity now, or whether we should just wait till the midseason mark before we make any deals. But as you can see here, T.Y. Hilton's expiring contract, Ryan Kelly's as well, and Kenny Moore as well. So yeah, I mean, those guys are all going to be impending free agents pretty soon, but let's not worry about that. Let's just go to the midseason mark. Hopefully this is a playoff-bound team. I wouldn't be surprised if it isn't. One can only hope that, maybe Jacoby Brissett and the Madden sim just gel really well together and he has like an MVP type season. I've seen it in the past, so maybe I get lucky and it's one of those years. We're 5-1, so maybe I am lucky. We're just going to go one more week, right before the trade deadline. So now we're 5-2. We lose to the Packers 31-17, but that's all right. We're doing pretty well so far, so I can't complain too much. 82 overall, 84 offense, 80 defense. Yeah, I mean, T.Y. Hilton's here. It's a huge contract for him being 30 years old now. Definitely not going to bring him back. Will most likely put an offer in on him in free agency if it's less than what he's asking for right now, which does happen from time to time. But yeah, I don't really want to sign a 30-year-old T.Y. Hilton, despite the superstar X factor in the 88 overall, to a 4-year deal. It just doesn't make much sense. There's a chance I'll franchise tag him because we do have a lot of money. So Justin Houston's not going to come back. Marlon Mack I will give an offer to. I mean, 5 years is fine with me. He's only 24, so that's cool. Ryan Kelly, definitely want to bring him back without a question. He's 27, but we're going to give him a 5-year contract because the regression for offensive linemen is different than the skill guys, so I'm comfortable with that. Malik Hooker's also definitely going to get a contract, 5-year deal. He's only 24, so that works for me. I'll offer him a little more money next time we try and negotiate and hopefully land him as well. Anthony Walker's here, 25. I mean, yeah, I can bring him back for a 3-year contract. He's good depth to have. You can never have enough middle linebackers in this game, so that works for me. Jacoby Brissett's going to walk, but Quincy Wilson, I always say Williams, but Quincy Wilson will inevitably get a new contract. He's only looking for a pretty small 3-year deal, so I'm comfortable there. And then, the rest of these guys are all good to go. And we're going to get into the playoffs here. I mean, we're 5-2. So clearly something's working. I'm not entirely surprised that this team is performing pretty well. It'd be nice to get into the playoffs if possible. And we do. We finish 8-8. So kind of a season I expected, more so than what we were seeing at 5-2. So we kind of came back to earth and went 3-6 the rest of the way. So we still made it to the playoffs. It works for me. I'm not too upset about it. It's only year one, so we don't have to panic too much. Yeah, let's take a look at the team really quick. O'Leary has star development as an offensive lineman, so that's pretty good. Anyone else on the offense get any increases during the season? Nope. On to the defense. Gillespie's up to a 74. Evans is at a 72. Darren Lee's at a 76. And then Meredith, our corner who we drafted, is up to a 77 with star, and he's already better than Rock Ya-Sin, so that works for me. Yeah, I mean, it's a good team. It's virtually exactly the same as what we saw, just with higher overalls. So 9-7 Jets versus the 8-8 Colts in the wild card. Can we come out on top here and move on? We do not. It's a 31-27 loss to the Jets. It is what it is. I'm not too upset about it. Like I said, it's only year one. We're going to get into the offseason here. Before I actually go into free agency, I just want to show you guys the stats. It's not something I usually do when I just play on my own, so I'm not great at always showing them. Jacoby Brissett was all right, a little too many turnovers for my liking, but almost 4,000 yards and 32 touchdowns on roughly 70% completion percentage isn't bad. It's not bad at all. So Marlon Mack was pretty solid, just over 1,100 yards and 6 touchdowns. Would like to see the touchdowns a little bit higher, but that's okay for me. Nyheim Hines chipped in, and Jacoby Brissett also had a rushing touchdown. Zach Pascal was an absolute beast out of the slot, 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. T.Y. Hilton contributed 905. This is why I'm not signing T.Y. Hilton to a 4-year contract at 30 years old. Those aren't numbers demanding that kind of money, so Jack Doyle was still solid, 600 yards, 5 touchdowns. Paris Campbell was also decent, almost 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. Marlon Mack also contributed 436 yards through the air and 4 touchdowns, and Nyheim Hines had 3 air touchdowns. So spreading the ball around quite a bit, but that works for me. On to the defense. Darren Lee had a career year, 119 total tackles, 5 for loss, 5 sacks, 1 pick. That's a great year for him. Darius Leonard, for whatever reason, led the way in sacks with 6.5. Justin Houston only had 5.5. Interceptions. Kari Willis had 3 picks. That's kind of the reason why I left him in that strong safety position. That's probably not a development increase, but it's still a good season nonetheless. And we had no defensive touchdowns. So we're going to take a look at the yearly awards as well. We had the 18th offense in terms of yards and the 10th defense in terms of yards. So the defense actually outperformed our offense, which is a little bit shocking. I wouldn't have expected that going into the season. Patrick Mahomes is your NFL MVP, probably of the 8-8 Chiefs, but probably something we're going to see a lot of in the future. Brissett's in at number 8 for Offensive Player of the Year. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Meredith and Zach Evans go back-to-back, and then finally Gabe Gillespie is at number 8. Any individual awards? Probably not, but we'll scan through them, and there isn't, so that works for me. All right, guys, so we're here in free agency. T.Y. Hilton's, his franchise tag is $19 million. It doesn't make a lot of sense. He's regressing pretty hard, so I'm not going to bring him back. Same thing with Justin Houston. Malik Hooker, I definitely want to bring back for sure. We're going to bump this up for him to make sure that we lock him up for 5 years. So that's a done deal. Quincy Wilson, again, I said Williams, but I mean to say Wilson. 2-year deal, relatively cheap, totally fine with doing that. And we're going to let our starting quarterback walk. So you know what we need in the upcoming draft, a starting caliber quarterback. All right, guys, so we're here in free agency. Austin Hooper is going to be a guy I try and sign for sure. Jack Doyle's contract's not ideal for this team, so I want to try and move off of him as quickly as I can, and bringing in a guy like Austin Hooper would be an immediate upgrade and gives me flexibility to go off Doyle's contract. Ebukam's going to come in and replace Justin Houston as our main edge rusher, pair him alongside the rookie on the other side. Darren Lee also went up to star development, as I can see here from our depth chart, so that's great to see. T.Y. Hilton's here with no offers. I would like to give him a contract offer just out of kind of respect for him. I don't think we're going to sign many other guys outside of those few in this draft class. Maybe put an offer out on Zach Cunningham, even though there's a lot of other teams interested in his services, but we could use a middle linebacker, so I'll chip an offer in on him, see if he likes it. If he does, then great. Wow, that was kind of a big offer, but anyways, whatever, that's fine with me. Don't get Ebukam, get Zach Cunningham. Can I get an update on Austin Hooper's contract negotiations? So the Browns came in and offered him 99 points. So we're going to try and top that. I don't know how high we'll have to go here, probably to the $4.5 million range for the bonus. So that's 103. I'm comfortable there. I won't go any higher than that. If he signs, great. We get Hooper. We lose out on Hilton. That's fine. I was more than willing to let him go anyways. Quentin Nelson's 5th-year option, absolutely going to pick that up. We're going to go into the draft here because we are all done with free agency. Definitely want to move around this draft board a lot. Need to absolutely target a quarterback. So I'm going to take a look, see if I can make any moves, and then I'll let you guys know what we end up doing. All right, guys, so big trade for us. As I mentioned, I really wanted to move off Jack Doyle's contract as we brought in Austin Hooper. He's also 31 and regressing, so that's fine. Glowinski's also a guy who's not going to get any better. He's pretty old as well. And we just brought in Dubois, who is a rookie left tackle who didn't see much playing time last year, but he's going to get a lot more playing time and get moved to right guard. And then a 4th-round pick for number 2 in the draft. We're going to stick at number 2 here. We're going to check out this class really quick. Definitely looking quarterback, so hopefully there's someone here that's interesting. And it looks like a pretty bad quarterback class, so that's great to see. Obviously, you can taste the sarcasm coming out of my mouth. I do quickly actually want to check out the trade down options here. I like this offer from the Raiders of, number 12 this year, a 1 next year, and a 3. So that's the deal I'm going to do. All right, guys, so we're back here. Looking at our draft board, I kind of realized that there are 2 big positions of need that we have. Louis Hebert, I know that may not be the right pronunciation, but I am Canadian, so I'm throwing a little French flair on it. But Louis Hebert, he's a wide receiver out of Clemson. Looks really, really good with his top 3 skills all being deep ball contested kind of traits. So he's a big receiver, 6'3", 221. Great combine. He's going to be the pick here. We do have a pretty significant need at receiver. So he's a 73 overall, hidden development, number 16 in the class. We took him at number 12. I'm totally okay with that. I'm really hoping that one of those edge rushers is still on my board here at number 21. All right, guys, so Kevin Sapp is still here. He's definitely going to be the pick, but I wanted to show you guys the free safety class here. It's absolutely stacked. These are all early first-round projected guys. We don't need a free safety because we have Malik Hooker, but that's pretty ridiculous. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like that. But Kevin Sapp is going to be the pick here. He's a 73 overall, number 15 in the class. We took him at 21. He's going to be our starting edge rusher for sure. All right, guys, so I'm back here in the 2nd round. Chad Norris is going to be the pick here. I know he's an early 4th-round projected guy, but he's got late 1st-round talent, so I'm totally fine bringing him in. He's a 70 overall, number 22 in the class. We took him at number 53. All right, guys, I'm going to settle for Lucas Pineda here. He's a middle linebacker out of Maryland, and he's a 68 overall, number 48 in the class. We took him at 70-something. We're going to go to the end of the draft. The CPU will automatically take those quarterbacks if they're still available with our next picks, which I'd be surprised if they weren't. We will have a starting quarterback. What they will look like and what their overall will be the question, but it's probably not going to be very good. We're an 83 overall, 83 offense, 80 defense, 81 overall. Excuse me. Yeah, Knox is going to be our starting quarterback at a 64 out of LSU. We're just going to go over the team really quick here, just give you guys an update on everyone and everything. Hebert is going to be our number 1 receiver. Pascal, I definitely want in the slot still, so as long as he's there, that's fine with me. Dubois, who we drafted not in this past draft, but the draft prior, is going to move in and be our right guard for the future. And then Marlon Mack, Nyheim Hines are still here. Paris Campbell's still here. Onto the defense. Darren Lee is a... can this hold to reorder thing please leave my screen? I don't know why that's still staying there, but that's super annoying. Sapp's going to move on ball and take over for Toure. And be our edge rusher on that side. So he's going to be not a corner or a free safety, but he's going to be a right end. Yeah, he's going to move on ball. And he's going to take over for Toure. And then Evans and Gillespie are still here. Still have DJ Reader. Linebacking core looks much improved. And then the corner situation's still very good. So I'm just going to quickly reset my game here and try and get rid of this hold to reorder thing, and then I will see you guys in the next season. All right, so we're back here for the start of Season 2. Finally got rid of that annoying glitch that happened, but the team's looking okay, minus a starting quarterback, really, but that's just how it goes sometimes. We had to let go of Jacoby Brissett. We're going to go to the midseason mark here. Definitely want to move off old contracts if we can at this point. But got a breakout challenge for Darius Leonard, I believe. So that's pretty awesome. Hopefully he could get up to Superstar X Factor. That'd be really, really encouraging. Darius Leonard, definitely going to get a big contract extension. It'd be super nice if he could go up to Superstar X Factor at this point. But DJ Reader, I'm not quite sold yet on, so I'm just going to hold off on his deal. Braden Smith. This is why we saved all that cap, so we could make sure that we brought back the core of this team. Nyheim Hines, I can move off of potentially, I guess. But, he's looking for a really cheap 2-year contract. So in actuality, I'm just going to re-sign him. It's probably easier than trying to look for a deal for him. And Toure, yeah, sure. You know what? I'll sign you to a 1-year deal. If anything, he becomes a trade piece because he's pretty much expendable at this point with our rookie taking over for him. But DJ Reader, I'm not quite sold on yet. So I'm going to hold off for now on his contract. And then, maybe if he gets up to a superstar or something like that, we look to re-sign him. But in all likelihood, we'll probably just have to let him go and then bring in a better option. But I want to make sure Sapp is starting because he's literally at the same overall now at this point with a higher development and younger than Toure. So makes sense to me. Yeah, the defense looks relatively the same. The offense is trying to work with this rookie quarterback, but we're going to go to the playoffs here. There's not really a whole lot much more I can do. I didn't spend our coach XP, which is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. We'll spend it and make sure we have it for next year. We end the season getting crushed by the Patriots, 41-16, and we end the year 7-9. Cam Knox at least got 3 XP points, so that's interesting, I guess. It doesn't really make him a guarantee shoe-in to be our starter next season. In fact, we'll probably be focusing all of our resources on finding a new quarterback next season. Yeah, maybe he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year or something ridiculous like that. But we're going to look at the stats here. All things said and done, he was pretty solid. 3,900 yards, 31 touchdowns, 6 picks on 73% completion percentage. That's Offensive Rookie of the Year for sure. So, hey, maybe he goes up to star development and we got something there. 964 yards, 9 touchdowns for Marlon Mack. Definitely not a hugely impressive year, but solid-ish nonetheless, down from last year. Zach Pascal had a great year, almost 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns. Austin Hooper did Austin Hooper type things, 800 yards, 5 touchdowns. Hebert added 7, 16, and 4. Marlon Mack had 714 receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Wow, okay, so he was not a 1,000-yard rusher, but he did contribute quite a bit of yardage through the air. Paris Campbell also had 487 and 5. Marlon Mack had a pretty unbelievable season, if you ask me. But hey, maybe that's a development, maybe it's not. Zach Cunningham came into this team and had a pretty damn good season. 107 total tackles, 6 for loss, 4 sacks, 1 pick. 10 sacks for Darius Leonard, which is so weird because he doesn't rush the quarterback. But, yeah, and then our guys that were actually supposed to rush the quarterback had 4 sacks, 3.5, and 3. So this game sometimes just makes no sense. Khari Willis had 2 picks. A lot of guys with 1 pick. Any defensive touchdowns here? Khari Willis had a pick 6, I assume, but that's pretty much it. And then we're going to go to the yearly awards here. We're in the AFC, so we're going to go over there. Any Colts? There's our guy Cam Knox at number 8. Defensive Player of the Year. No Colts. Cam Knox is your Offensive Rookie of the Year of the 7-9 Colts. Hebert was in at number 4. Defensive Rookie of the Year, any Colts? No. Best Quarterback? No. Any other individual awards? No. So that is all right with me. DJ Reader's here. He's an 83 overall. He's 28 years old. Is he regressing already? He's regressing. There's no way I'm bringing him back. I'd rather find a guy in the draft or something like that, or maybe free agency, and the rest of those guys can walk. So that makes that pretty easy. On to free agency here. Do I want to bring J.J. Watt in to be a defensive tackle? Absolutely I do. That makes a lot of sense. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We are going to give him a 2-year contract. 96 points works for me. Jair Alexander, not a huge need at cornerback, but might as well toss an offer out to him. We've got enough money to do so. Von Miller is going to come in and be an edge rusher for us on the opposite side of the rookie with star development. So 2-year deal for him. Leighton Vander Esch, I absolutely want to bring in. I realize these are huge contracts, but for the most part, for these older guys, they're 2-year deals, and that's fine with me. Do I want to bring in a guy like Michael Gallup instead of, or do I want to focus on receiver in the draft and just not worry about our corner situation for the rest of this rebuild? Because it's looking pretty good, honestly, at this point. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to bring in anyone else. We've dished out a lot of really big contracts so far. So J.J. Watt says no, but Leighton Vander Esch and Von Miller are in. That's great to see. Can we land Jair? No. So that's fine. We still have $34 million we offered to the 4 guys that we wanted. Draft time it is. Definitely looking quarterback. Okay, so big trade here. Zach Cunningham was kind of the odd man out. I know we just gave him a big contract, and it definitely does hurt letting him walk. But, Toure was also a replaceable guy because we brought in Von Miller. And then we've got our rookie rushing the quarterback on the other side. And then we gave up a 4th-round pick to pick at number 2 from the Vikings. So hopefully we have our pick of the litter of potential quarterbacks here, as a tight end from Michigan goes number 1 overall. Tyler Drew looks really good here. There's a lot of really good quarterback prospects. So Charles Vick looks like a beast out of Notre Dame. So maybe we didn't need this second-round pick or the 2nd overall pick. Maybe we look to do the same thing we did last year and try and look at some of these offers on first-round picks and stuff like that. I'm going to trade with the Eagles. So we trade back to number 9 in this draft. Who do they take with our pick? They took a corner. Devontae Lambert, definitely not a position that we needed. All right, guys, so I'm back here with our draft board. The pick for me is a bit of a no-brainer. We desperately need interior defensive line, and Trayvon Parks looks like an unbelievable player, so he's going to be the selection here. He's 22 years old, run-stopping defensive tackle out of Ole Miss, and he's a 77 overall with hidden development. He's number 6 in the class. We took him at number 8. That's an awesome selection. And then we pick again, back-to-back, and I'm definitely looking receiver here. This edge rusher, Ray O'Neal, looks ridiculously good. But Vernon Reese is going to be the pick here just because wide receiver is a way bigger need at this point. And he's number 5 in the class. We took him at number 9. He's a 77 overall, so that's great to see. And then Ray O'Neal just went to the Jets. He's a 79. I knew he was going to be an absolute monster. He just wasn't the position that we needed at that moment. So that's fine with me. I'm not totally heartbroken about that. Our quarterback, he's still a 3rd-round projected guy, and we have the 8th pick in the 2nd round. So I'll probably look to grab him with that selection. Just looking around the rest of these guys here, there was another very good receiver. Tyler Williams, I believe, is the guy. He's a mid-first-round talent guy. But he's out of Michigan State. He's a 22-year-old, pretty tall wide receiver, but we desperately need good receiver talent to come in. So he's a 74 overall, hidden development, number 17 in the class. We took him at 13. The pick here is going to be the quarterback, the future of the Indianapolis Colts, Charles Vick. And he's a 77 overall with normal development, number 3 in the class. We took him at number 40. The normal development stings a little bit, I'm not going to lie, but honestly, that's obviously way better than a 71 overall, which is what Knox is at right now. And then there's no telling if he pops off in his first season, wins Offensive Rookie of the Year. Maybe it's a development increase right off the bat. Shane Campbell, right guard, is going to be the next pick, 23 overall. We took him at 72. That's probably going to be the last pick of the draft, so we're just going to sim to the end here. The team is looking really good. So Reese is going to be our number 1 guy with a bear behind him, and then we're going to keep Pascal in the slot. Williams is going to be our 4th option. Paris Campbell becomes expendable now, so there's potential we could look to move off of him. We're going to move Van Der Esch to middle linebacker because I think he's the best run stopper out of the group of our current linebackers. So he's going to play middle linebacker, and then I'm going to move Darius Leonard back to where he was and keep Darren Lee in the left outside linebacker spot. It's a great linebacking core really any way you order it. It's just what I think works best for the team. Parks is going to come in and anchor that defensive line. Sapp is going to step up into a bigger role this year rushing the quarterback. The corners still look fine. I would have liked to have seen more progression from them. We're going to get into the season here. I think we're ready to go. The team's been rearranged and reordered. I think the big question in this season is how does our rookie quarterback perform? I'd really love to see his development go up from a normal to a star or a superstar, sooner rather than later in this rebuild. But we're going to check in on the team here. We're 4-3 coming off a loss to the Titans. Do a quick team upgrade here, and then going to take a look at these free agents. Quentin Nelson's one of them, and he's definitely going to get a huge contract from us. It's going to be a 5-year deal. We're going to bump up the money just a little bit to make sure that he comes back. He wants more salary. We're going to end up giving it to him, but Darren Lee's here as well. I normally wouldn't sign him to a 5-year deal knowing that he's only a 78, but he's probably going to be here for the rest of the rebuild anyways, so I'm fine with that. Zach Pascal is interesting because he's a beast in the slot, so maybe there's a chance he'll get a development. So if he takes that offer, I'm okay with that, and he does. Rock Yassin, definitely going to give him a contract. It's only a 2-year deal, and he's still only 26, so that's fine. He'll only get better. Kari Willis, same deal. 3 years isn't ideal, but that's fine. So he wants more money, so that's kind of not ideal anymore. But Quincy Wilson, literally keep saying Williams over and over again. Just a 1-year deal for him, that's fine. And then, the rest of these guys I'd like to bring back and potentially move in the offseason. Yeah, we're going to go to the playoffs here, not the Super Bowl. Because if we made the playoffs and went right to the Super Bowl, we wouldn't have any idea how we did. We don't make the playoffs here. We're an 85 overall, 87 offense, 84 defense. We ended up going 8-8 and just missing out on the playoffs. I mean, the team progression in terms of overall is really nice to see. We're finally seeing some benefits to our trading and drafting and all that stuff. So it kind of sucks to waste a year of like Von Miller's potential and stuff like that, but it kind of is what it is. Like, there's not really a whole lot we can do. Quentin Nelson, as I said, definitely want to bring him back, so we're going to give him whatever he wants. Kari Willis finally goes up to star development, so that's actually encouraging. That gives me a bit of a better sense of his progression and makes me want to re-sign him. So glad to get that deal done with him. Paris Campbell, he's still super young, so I'm not counting him out just yet. So 3-year deal, whatever. And he wants to test out free agency. Probably best for his career, to be perfectly honest. Bobby Okereke re-signs on a 2-year deal, and then Marvell Tell III will look to go to free agency. Ben Banogu, also on a 1-year deal. If he doesn't want to sign it, it's no big deal, but he does probably look to trade him as well. We're going to jump into the stats here. See how our rookie quarterback was unbelievable. Almost 5,000 yards passing. Woo! So that should be a development to star, if I'm not mistaken. But 31 passing touchdowns as well. 11 picks is kind of a lot for me, but on 70% completion percentage, it is what it is. Marlon Mack had a resurgence, almost 1,200 yards and 13 touchdowns. Hines had 7 touchdowns on 230 yards. Vic also added 2 rushing touchdowns, which is nice. Austin Hooper went off. We had 3 1,000-yard receivers, which is unbelievable. Hooper, almost 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Pascal, almost 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. Vernon Reese, our rookie receiver, had just over 1,000 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bear contributed 606. Marlon Mack had 603. Yeah, overall, great yardage for the team. Van Der Esch led the way with 108 tackles, 4 for loss, 1.5 sacks, 4 picks. Von Miller had 15.5 sacks. Darius Leonard had 7.5. Sapp had 6 interceptions. Van Der Esch had 4. Kari Willis had 3, and he got a star development, which I saw already. Touchdowns, none. All right. Yearly awards is where we're going to next. Lamar Jackson is your NFL MVP. Any Colts? No. Offensive Player of the Year. There's our guy Charles Vick at number 8. Defensive Player of the Year. Any Colts? Von Miller in at number 5. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Charles Vick, of course. Vernon Reese at 4, and that's it. Defensive Rookie of the Year is Trayvon Parks, a guy who I didn't even check his development, but he wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. Any individual awards? Von Miller, best D lineman, is great to see, but that is it for us. We had the second best offense in terms of yardage this season and the 13th best defense in terms of yardage. So we're going to get into free agency now, try and fill all the holes that we can with players, and then it's looking pretty solid. There's a lot of star development to go around, but that's sometimes how it goes. We haven't landed on the superstar X factors or the superstars quite yet. So yeah, it's a really solid offense, good looking offense, and then defense. The linebacking core looks like beasts. Von Miller's regressing, but he's still productive at an 86. And then the corner situation is still a lot of star development. So I would like to improve that if I could. But Irv Smith Jr. is actually a great free agency target. We do need a backup to Austin Hooper. We haven't had one in a while, so I'd really like to land a young Irv Smith, who's only 25. Give him 5 years, $31 million, and hopefully he takes that. That's literally the only signing I want to make because we just don't have that many. And he rejects anyways, so cool. We just don't have that many holes. I mean, it's as simple as that. There aren't a lot of guys left in free agency that are superstar X Factor or superstar that are a huge upgrade to us. So, that works for me. Have a relatively cheap free agency and then look to improve in the draft. We're going to go to number 6. I don't want to move around this board as much as I typically would, but hopefully there's a defensive tackle in here that's like a game changer or something like that. All right, guys, so I'm back here, and I am accompanied with Trent Friedman, and he is a monster. He's 6'4", almost 300 pounds, and that combine is ridiculous. He's an early first-round pick, but he's a speed rusher. But I think he's a guy who can get after the quarterback. I like him a lot. He's a 78 overall, number 3 in the class. We took him at number 6. I just think he's going to be an absolute monster on the inside. He's an upgrade over Gillespie at this point for obvious reasons. The overall, the hidden development, all that stuff makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I'm really happy with that selection. I really didn't know if there was going to be a solid defensive tackle in this class, and it turns out that he was an absolute monster. So, yeah, that works for me. I'm just going to keep looking through these guys here. This left guard looks pretty exceptional, so I think he's going to be the pick. Zach Lynch, 21 years old, out of UCF. And, yeah, he's real strong, so hopefully he's a good player. He's a 76 overall, number 9 in the class. We took him at 14. Only normal development, but that's all right. He's an offensive lineman. Going to pick number 6 in round 2. All right, guys, so second round pick is going to be Armin Morton. He looks like an absolute monster. I mean, he's a third-round projected guy, but he's got early first-round talent. He looks like a beast to me. He's a 76 overall, hidden development, probably already an upgrade over Kari Willis, even though Kari Willis did just get star development. Yeah, I mean, he looks like a monster, so I'm happy with that pick. And then I think if he's still available on this board here, it's going to be Cecil Finch. He's a right guard, and he looks unreal. I know we just took an offensive lineman, but Cecil Finch is a 76 overall, hidden development, number 8 in the class. We took him at 46. All right, guys, so just giving a quick update of the team before we head into the next season. Finch is coming in to start as our starting right guard with his hidden development. Everything else looks virtually the exact same that it did last year. Might look to bring in a second tight end at some point just to back up Austin Hooper for like 2 tight end sets and all that stuff. Yeah, we've got Friedman, who I'm super excited about, to come in to rush the quarterback from the defensive tackle position. And then I do want to see what Morton can provide. He's at a 76, which is only 1 behind Willis. He's way younger. And he could have superstar X Factor for all we know. So I want to give him the opportunity. And then this is what the specialists look like. And yeah, I think we're all set to get into the next season. We're an 85 overall, 87 offense, 84 defense. I think it's going to go really well. I think this season is probably going to be our year to really make a playoff push. Getting to the mid-season mark, we're going to stop right there. I think I just missed the trade deadline, but it's no big deal. I don't think I was prepared to make any big trades anyways. We are 4-3 at the mid-season mark. Finch has 2 XP, which is nice. He's going to go up. 86 overall, 88 offense, 85 defense. And then, yeah, free agency we're going to check out here. Von Miller, I'm going to let walk at this point. He's 34. Jeff O'Leary, for sure want to bring back our young right tackle. We still have quite a bit of money. We've managed our cap significantly better than in prior rebuilds in this particular one. So we should be able to re-sign all of the guys that we brought in the first season. Kenny Moore's getting old. He's 28. He's going to be regressing significantly. Nyheim Hines, he'll be 27, so I'm comfortable giving him a 2-year deal when this all wraps up for the season. Gabe Gillespie, sure, give him a 2-year deal, very cheap. Totally fine with that. Christian Dubois, same kind of boat. Definitely want to extend him more than 2 years, so I'm going to give him 4 and then bump up the salary for him because that's what he wants. Quincy Wilson, at this point, I can just look for a better corner in free agency or the draft. Playoff bound, hopefully. 4-3 is not a bad record. We were 4-3 last year at this point, and we didn't make the playoffs, but I'm hoping we have a strong second half and get in, and we do. 9-7, barely squeak in. Getting a message from Von Miller here that he wants to retire. So hopefully we get a Super Bowl for him. That'd be ideal. But we're going to upgrade our players here. Charles Vick has another 2 points, so he's clearly progressing at a very good rate. We're an 87 overall, 89 offense, 85 defense. So checking in on the team here, Finch has superstar development, which is awesome. Pairing him with Quentin Nelson on the other side, that offensive line is just looking like a bunch of beasts. Vic is up to an 84 already, so that's awesome. And then our receivers are coming along not too badly. Defensively, let's see here. Freeman only has star development, which is kind of upsetting a little bit, but it is what it is. The rest of the team looks pretty solid. Morton only had star development, but he's already a higher overall than Willis is, so that's fine with me. And then the linebackers look as solid as ever. But let's focus on the wild card here first. We're up against the 9-6-1 Miami Dolphins. Can we beat them in the wild card game to move on? And we do. 35-28 up against the infamously overpowered Cleveland Browns next. They went 13-3 this season. I just want to see their overall because I can almost guarantee our overall is higher, and it is. I mean, they're still an 85. They're still an unbelievably good team, and they just get so good in like a couple years in this game because, I don't know, I guess Madden decided that the Browns were going to be the next dynasty in the NFL. But anyways, we get them in the divisional. I'm not going to hop in yet. I only hop in when it's the conference championship, so hopefully we get by them here, but I'm not too sure about it. And we lose 24-16. Rather unsurprising. Yeah, I think we had a good season. This next one will probably be our final season, whether we win a Super Bowl or not. If you're a fan of the channel, if you've watched some of my videos in their entirety, you know that we haven't actually won a Super Bowl yet, which is a little bit upsetting, but it is what it is. We're going to go to our stats here, check out the team real quick. Charles Vick had like an MVP-style season, 4,500 yards, 38 touchdowns, 15 picks, though. That's a lot of interceptions. I'd like that to come significantly down, but 71% completion percentage is great. Marlon Mack, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Hines had 8 touchdowns on 242 yards. Vick isn't much of a scrambler, so only 63 rushing yards, but Zach Pascal had another great season, 1,200 yards roughly and 9 touchdowns. Reese added another just over 1,009. Hooper, 760 and 8. Hebert, 707. Mack added another 587 and 3. Yeah, I mean, those are great numbers for all our receivers. Leighton Vander Esch had a beastly year, 115 tackles, 10 for loss, 1.5 sacks. Sapp added 9 sacks. Von Miller had 8.5. Trent Freeman had 6, our rookie defensive rushing tackle. And then Darren Lee had 5 interceptions. Darren Lee had 2. Only 5 picks on the whole year. There's no way. And 4 of them were made by our linebackers. So Malik Hooker added a pick 6 to the mix. 4th in terms of offensive yards. Defensive yards was 29th. So this defense is really struggling here for whatever reason. But we are the Colts, so AFC, to have him at number 9 and being 2nd in yards and 3rd in touchdowns, that just doesn't make any sense to me. But 9th in Offensive Player of the Year is Charles Vick. Colts, Darren Lee came in 7th for Defensive Player of the Year. Any Colts for Offensive Rookie of the Year? No. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Trent Friedman of the Colts, which is great, and then Morton is in at 5. Best QB, any individual awards? Almost certainly not, and there isn't, so that is okay with me. So the defense appears to be the weak spot of this team, which is interesting because we have 3 superstar linebackers, and then, very good, rushing players like Von Miller was on our team, so maybe it's the cornerbacks just giving up too much to the receivers, but Von Miller's going to go, Kenny Moore can go. Dubois, I do want to give a little bit more money to. If he doesn't sign, it's fine. We have enough offensive guard depth to not really worry about him. So into free agency here, we still have quite a bit of money, like 32 million. Maybe we get like a lockdown corner here, like Stephon Gilmore would be the guy for sure, just to come into this team and like shore up that secondary. But 95 points to him, I'm comfortable there. Um, we could bring in a guy like Julio Jones on like a 1-year deal to try and help out this receiving core, but I think I'm going to pass on that actually. So Stephon Gilmore hopefully is going to be the guy that comes in for us, and he doesn't. So now we have to focus on corner for the draft because we lost Kenny Moore. So 88 overall offense, 81 defense. So I don't know what's going on with this defense. Obviously, we just lost. And Vic goes up to superstar and Pascal. Okay, so that's huge. Sorry, I was talking about the defense, but I got distracted by development increases. So Vic having superstar is awesome. Pascal getting to superstar is awesome because it's going to stun his regression. Darren Lee goes up to superstar X Factor. So that's really great to see. So we just need an edge rusher and 2 corners, and that's literally it. And then we're good to go for another season. Okay, this is literally the most ridiculous trade I've ever made in my life. We just traded Norris straight up for Khalil Mack. He's going to be coming in as our main edge rusher, obviously. He's old, but he's still a 90 overall, and he's going to play left end for us. He's virtually coming in to replace exactly what Von Miller was on this team for the last 2 years. Khalil Mack, formerly of the Silver and Black, the Sack Attack, so I'm cool with that. I mean, he's a 92 overall. That's an unbelievable replacement for a depth defensive tackle, so that works for me. All right, guys, so I ended up trading Cam Knox, our backup quarterback, and a future 2 and a future 4 for number 7 overall in this draft class. I tried to trade him for a cornerback straight up, but he just didn't have enough value, so I ended up trading him for a pick, and I think that's going to turn out to most likely be a cornerback. I'm going to take the corner here. Mac Whitfield is going to be the guy. Yeah, he's really strong. 73 overall, hidden development, number 15 in the class. We took him at number 7. I'm totally fine with that pick. We need corner depth, so that works for me. No complaints here. And then we're going to go to number 25. Hopefully we can land another secondary piece, and by that I mean a corner, a safety, or something along those lines. Joe Floyd is going to be the pick here. He's an early second-round guy. He's a 69 overall. We took him at number 25. He was projected to go at number 41, so it is what it is. Going to go to our next pick here. We needed the corners. We needed the safeties, so honestly, that works. Will Christensen's going to be the pick here. He's a wide receiver out of South Carolina. Looks pretty solid, late-round guy, so 71 overall, just depth at this point, normal development, that's totally fine with me. All right, guys, Bart Reese is going to be our guy here in the 3rd round. 68 overall, normal development, totally fine with me, just looking for depth options at this point, and we are going to go to the end of the draft. We're an 88 overall offense, 84 defense, 86 in terms of overall. All right, guys, so the team is all set. Here is the offense. Obviously, Vic having superstar now is awesome. Into the defense now. Our 3 linebackers are still all great. We added Khalil Mack in the offseason, which is fantastic. And then our specialist, Khalil Mack, rushing the passer with Friedman, Sapp. Meredith is our slot. Van Der Esch is our sub linebacker. And then Pascal is our slot receiver. So I'm going to spend the final bit of Coach XP. This is going to be the last season no matter what. It's been an interesting rebuild. I think the team is very, very good. Potentially better than, what we've been performing at thus far. But this is going to be the last year. I'm really hoping it works out. Maybe it's because I didn't change the playbooks around enough or something along those lines. I know that has a big effect on how the sim works. Sometimes I just don't get around to it. So 2-4 at the midseason mark. That's a bit annoying, but it is what it is. Not going to re-sign anyone. Just want to get to the end of the season. It's not the end of the world. 2-4 teams have still made the playoffs from that. So I'm hoping with our superstar quarterback, he can change the team around in the second half and manage to pull it out. But there's no guarantee. In all likelihood, it's going to be the Madden Sim kicking us out. And, yep, that's exactly what happens. We don't make the playoffs. Whitfield has a lot of development points, so maybe he's actually a beast. But we go 9-7 in a very competitive AFC South division, and we don't get into the Super Bowl. So we're going to go to the offseason here. Should have really been the Super Bowl week, but still give you an idea of this final squad. It was an 89 offense, 87 defense, but obviously we went down because guys left or regressed or whatever it was. So final stats for the year. Let's check out those. Charles Vick was still solid again. Less turnovers, higher completion percentage. He looked great. Marlon Mack was still trucking. Vernon Reese had another great season. Defensively, Darren Lee stepped up in a huge way. Khalil Mack had 14 sacks. Parks had 8 sacks. Friedman had 7 sacks. Sapp had 5.5. I mean, I just don't see how this team isn't a playoff team. We 6 in terms of offensive yards. And in defensive yards, we were 4th, so our defense was actually significantly better this year. 13th in terms of points scored and 13th in points allowed. So we were a top 15 team in every metric. Didn't make the playoffs. That's how it goes sometimes. Can't always win them all. But thank you for watching. This is the last season. We'll do one more once-over of the team. Just to see any final developments. Pascal had superstar, but he's regressing at this point to a 79. And then the defense, Vander Esch and Leonard never went up to superstar X Factor. Whitfield ended up having superstar development, so he would have been a beast for sure. It was a solid team. I really enjoyed rebuilding them. Not too many complaints from me, but thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Once again, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and it really helps out the channel. If you want more content, let me know. I've considered putting out like a mock draft or something like that for the upcoming draft, maybe like free agency projections. If you guys want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know what team I should rebuild next. If you want to see your team rebuilt by me, let me know in the comments. And yeah, that's been it for me. I really appreciate you stopping by and watching, and have a great day.